I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Wednesday, October the 13th, brought to you in part by VitaFirm, best mineral money can buy, made by Biozyme. Try their VitaCharge products for your weaning program, and I think you'll have good luck with them there. That go right along with their loose mineral and all the VitaFirm products that they have. But check out VitaFirm, go to biozyme.com. Mandates are crippling the economy, and it's easy to talk about. I mean, it's a hot button subject right now. We all saw what happened over the weekend with Southwest Airlines, and then what was disgusting is they come in earlier in the week here and completely lied about it and said that the vaccine mandates didn't have anything to do with thousands of pilots and airline workers not showing up to work. Yeah, right. Well, we saw published on social media and things. We saw, letters and statements that were published by the very people that didn't show up. Yet I don't know how stupid they think we are. But like I said, you guys have seen all that in the news. We've seen that we're going to have a shortage on a lot of our products that we have shipped in from other places because the ports are really slow. And they say that there's not truck drivers, but there's truck drivers there that just can't get loaded. Now, I'm not sure if that's because people aren't showing up to work or people are protesting because of the mandates or what's going on out there, but something's going on. And it's absolutely ridiculous. I talked to some of the people that were caught up in those delays flying over the weekend, and they were seething pissed. And you can imagine, I mean, it's bad enough you have enough delays flying with weather and different things, mechanical issues, but have something like that come in, tell you what, it's more than people can take. I fly probably 2 to 4 times a month on trips now, and I used to kind of enjoy it, but with the masks and all the crap that's going on, I no longer enjoy it. I dread every second of it, and probably drive a whole lot more because I would just, it's nice to have your privacy, sitting in your vehicle and not have to deal with a mask and all that crap, get to where you're going. And then rental cars are so expensive now, it's nice to be able to have some wheels when you get where you're going, because rental cars used to be fairly affordable, but they're not anymore. But everything's just going crazy. But I'm talking about a cattle report here, and I'm going on about that stuff, but I'm going to tie it in, don't worry. These mandates are coming down the line, and it's going to start affecting our cattle slaughter. These plants, any business that's got over 100 employees, they've got a mandate that their employees be vaccinated. Well, there's a lot of these plant workers that aren't vaccinated. And we're already seeing them trying to crack down in some of the corporate plants, and a lot of them are leaving there and they're going to some of them that haven't started mandating it yet. We're seeing that quite a bit. They can basically drop the knife here and go pick it up over there. It's not a whole lot different if you've got some skills. But some of these plants, I've heard, are going to mandate anybody that steps on the property to be vaccinated. Okay, who's that include? Your cattle truck drivers, your fat pots that come in there to unload. What percentage of them do you think is vaccinated? Whenever they've been hauling cattle, been sleeping on benches in sale barns, week in and week out for even years now, for sure months, running all over everywhere, taking showers in truck stops and just eating in every greasy spoon and everything. If they ain't caught it and died by now, they're probably not going to, and I don't think very many of them are scared of it, of this COVID-19. And I'm just thinking, if 40%, if 30 or 40% of your bull haulers are vaccinated, I would be surprised. And we've got at least one plant that's saying that if they come on their property, they've got to be vaccinated. Now, what do you think those guys are going to do whenever these trucking companies start to try to mandate that? It's pretty darn easy to crawl out of that truck and go get in somebody else's truck and start hauling feeders, because we're short of trucks all over everywhere, guys. It's gonna take this this cattle slaughter to its knees. Okay, who else you got involved? USDA workers, federal government workers, on top of your plant workers, because the corporates ain't a hell of a lot different than the government. But your USDA inspectors, you can't sell that meat if it's not inspected. Now they may they may allow, make an exemption and allow the plants to do in-house inspection. What's that going to lead to, guys? Your USDA graders, I'd realize they don't swing hammers on the line like they did back in the old days, but they oversee those cameras or those grading instruments. If they're not there on site to oversee that, you can't do that, and you can't put that grade stamp on that meat, and then you're not going to be able to sell it either. So this is getting serious, guys, and something's got to give. And I don't believe Mr. Magoo's got the wherewithal to understand all the ramifications of it. And you know, the way they're pushing him out there in front of that teleprompter, it's kind of sad and it's cruel, because he doesn't know what day it is, where he's at, or anything else. You watch him stumble around and stammer. He doesn't really know what's going on. And then these people have got him just acting as their puppet. But something's got to give here. They're going to take this country to its knees if they don't start easing up on some of this stuff. Let's talk about your board on Tuesday. October live cattle futures down 60 cents at 125.02. December down 92 at 129 and a quarter. Your back months were all moderately lower. You know, just couldn't sustain the gains there much longer. We've seen a lot of gains. But down a nickel to down 62 cents on your back month, so not terrible. Feeder cattle, other than your spot October, they were all pretty much higher. Your October feeder cattle down 75 cents. Of course, you know, cash has been higher, but we just can't run the cash hard enough to get it to come up to meet your October spot feeder cattle contract. So it was down 75 at 158.57. November up 7 cents at 161.80. Your back months on feeder cattle were all higher, 25 cents to up 77. Well, corn was down 10.5 on Tuesday. December corn at 522.5, right as they're bringing it in from the fields. Your fat cattle trade, very, very minimal. We haven't seen it come loose yet, and some people are saying it's not even enough to talk about, but it's looking like it could be a little bit higher. Of course, your packers aren't in a big hurry to get out there. We saw the show lists come out, and they're a lot smaller. We know that your packers don't have as many cattle reserved as normal. Of course, they always have a lot of them reserved coming down the line over the next several weeks. You would think that they would kind of come to their milk and come in, but they are not going to tip their hand. There was a couple of loads in Iowa sell at 122 on Tuesday. Nebraska and Kansas didn't have anything. Your Texas cash pool with consolidated beef producers had about 300 head on there again. And mind you, these are some of the better cattle. They're wanting some of the better cattle to put on the cash pool. Bring 124.15 for the second week in a row. And then we had two other bids reported there at 125.52 and 124. You know, and you can't get more than 122 for a couple of loads of those good Iowa fed cattle. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But tell you what, these packers are in short supply. They're getting close to the knife, as close as they get now, with the little bit of negotiated trade that they have to do. But they're going to need some cattle. It would just, I know it's not going to happen, but wouldn't it be something if all the people that sell negotiated cash every week, you know, just kind of held them back, said, no, I think we're just going to take them to the sale. You can just come to the sale. You can go to Yankton, or you can go to Worthing at Sioux Falls Regional. You can go to Dunlap or Tama, somewhere like that. And you can just buy them there. We don't have that many to sell, really. Be a lot easier on both of us. Yeah, we'd kind of like to see that. Well, on Tuesday at Stockman's Livestock, Yankton, South Dakota, their fat cattle sold $1 to $3 higher on Tuesday. So we did have some negotiated trade, some price transparency, and some competition there. at Yankton, South Dakota. The conventional cattle, just your straight up cattle there, no bells and whistles, they sell mostly from 120 to 124 and a half. Now they had a lot of cattle there that were drug-free or non-implanted type cattle. Get that from some of your farmer feeder outfits, independent feeders. They figure they get a little premium there. It's going to do as much good as that implant does. But your cattle that had some program on them, sell them from 123.50 to 127, with a few up to 129.50. Not too bad. And they had major packers in there bidding on cattle and buying several loads, not just telling an outside country buyer, you can buy one load off this guy and one load off this guy and one load off this guy, just to kind of keep them all at bay. No, they're sitting there buying cattle. They need them. Of course, you also had some regional packers in there that always make the market there, but interesting there. We've got to figure out a way. It's the fact that these big packers are gouging the consumers and putting the screws to your producers and your cattle feeders. That's leaked out now, and Bloomberg News, which that's big city news out there in New York City, they had an article on Tuesday that said that steak will likely become a luxury that you can't afford all the time. It's just whenever you really want to treat. That's something that's scary, guys. And whenever those big city people get to thinking that, it just kind of gets set into their mind. It's not a staple. It's not a staple protein there anymore. It's kind of a luxury item. We don't want to do that. But if you go on to read that article, it's from the CEO of Danish Crown, which is Europe's top meat processor. And he was kind of saying, oh, this beef's just going to get too expensive. Well, if you went on to look further into that article, it was him because they mostly process pork. And he was kind of trying to drive more business to the pork because likely they can make more money off that. But we don't like to see headlines like that saying that steak is a luxury item. You know, that ought to be something you should be able to put on your family's table on a regular basis. Box beef cutout values were lower again. Choice cuts not much lower, just a nickel lower at 281.07. Selects 261.35 down 229. Let's talk about what else is going on. Going to be heading out the end of the week to Fallon, Nevada, at Nevada Livestock Marketing. Help auctioneer out there on Friday. They've got their monthly feeder cattle special. They're going to have a lot of calf weight yearlings, like fall born, long time weaned, dried out in the desert, calf weight yearlings weighing in the high 6s and the 7s. Where are you going to find them? The problem is getting trucks out there to haul them somewhere. So if you've got a way to get some, there'll definitely be some there. You can get onto dvauction.com, bid on those yearlings. Looking at about 1,000 yearlings. They'll all be really hard, dried out yearlings there, and a lot of them, like I said, will be calf weight yearlings for this time of year. And then another 2,000 calves, and a lot of those will be weaned on there on Friday at Nevada Livestock Marketing. Let's talk about our production sales. One of our premier production sales that we have on DV Auction, of course we have a jillion of them, but one of our premier sales is here today, this morning. I hope you're watching this early, but R.A. Brown Ranch, their 47th annual bull sale is today, here Wednesday, from Throckmorton, Texas. You talk about Angus. They got Black Angus, they got Red Angus, they got Sim Angus. They're going to have some commercial and registered females on there. You know, they've got the best auctioneers there. I got to listen to it because I love to listen to Doak Lambert sell. He's going to be on there selling. My friend Trent Stewart is going to be on there. Steve Friskup is going to be on there, your best horse auctioneer. But going to be a big doings there at R.A. Brown Ranch. View and bid right here today, dvauction.com. Also, don't forget the Bieber Fever sale in the southeast from Swainsboro, Georgia. It's also going to be coming up here on Thursday, so don't miss that sale. Let's talk about your feeder cattle market in your sale barns on Tuesday. Real-time index on DV Auction late in the day on Tuesday at 154.30. That was up $1.07. That was a big gain there on a Tuesday. And your real-time index has now surpassed your CME cash feeder cattle index, which the latest available was 154.15. Those market reporters, retired ag teachers, and county agents have learned that that these fat balling calves, you just can't find a way to shuffle them out of the mix. You got to start putting them in there, and a lot of them weighing in the sevens, and so they're starting to pull that down a little bit. When they first started showing up to town, guys didn't really know what to do with them. Trained a jillion of those people. It's human nature. That's just kind of the way it goes. But when you bring the human element into that, that's kind of what you get. But let's talk about your big feeder sales on Tuesday. Ozarks Regional Stockyard, West Plains, Missouri, 2,000 head through the ring, another 900 head there on their in-house video with DV Auction. The market, Dan Hill, my buddy there, he is an ag teacher, but he's one of the best market reporters I've ever worked with too. But unevenly steady to weak right there, and that's what I trust. And also just stated that they kind of had a hodgepodge offering there. They didn't have many big long strings, a lot of small groups in there, a lot of them unweaned and things like that. And to hold the market unevenly steady, even close, that's a victory right there. How about Denny Rezac Livestock Commission, St. Mary's, Kansas, 2,100 head there on Tuesday. Look at these loads and double loads that I pulled out of Cattle Market Central there. All these weighing in the eights, bringing from 157 to 162 there in St. Mary's, Kansas. I thought that was a heck of a good sale. And the cattle aren't always fancy, but what can some just cattle bring? Well, I was out Wildorado, Texas there on Tuesday. Lone Star Stockyards, and Bill Martin, he knows cattle as good as anybody, and he advertised the cattle honest. He knew people would come in there wanting to buy those cattle. He'd tell them exactly what they are. Some true yearling steers off grass, but they're oaky type cattle with an end of them crossbreds. You can see them right here, part of them there on this biggest string we saw pretty much anywhere on Tuesday. 239 head of 832-pound yearling feeder steers off grass, bring 152 and a quarter. How about one of our big sales in the Northern Plains? Philip the Giant, 6,600 head of feeders. Not sure how many cows they had on there, but this is from the automated market report. The federal state report was not available even late in the day on Tuesday when I put this together. But I looked at your trend on your automated market report. Your 4-weight calves, steers and heifers, $5 to $10 higher. We've been seeing that around. Heavier weight calves were mostly steady and not a test on the yearlings. But look at your best tested weights on this report here. 947 head of 4-weight steer calves, average $455 at $200.46. Pretty good quote, weighing in the upper fours there. 1,737 head of 5-weight steer calves in Phillip, average $546 at $179.04 on your weighted average price. 780 head of 6-weight steers, average $638. These would all be calves. 169.17, pretty big quote for 6 weights. Look at some heifers. 888 head of 4-weight heifer calves, average $449 at $173.80 on a weighted average price. 983 head of 5-weight heifer calves, average $532 at $157.80. I told you about a big string of cattle over the end of last week at Fort Pierre that weighed 5 or better and brought over $2. Well, they had one of those in Phillip at Philip the Giant on Tuesday. 101 head, 515-pound fancy steer calves bring 202. So they will bring it, guys, and that's just a big benchmark that I always like to see, and I hope that this continues to get better and we see more and more of those. That's $1,000 on a 500-pound steer, and that's kind of what guys are shooting for. How about Kimble Livestock Exchange, Kimble, South Dakota, about 2,600 head for them. Look how well tested it was, pretty well from top to bottom, from your lighter weights all up to your bigger cattle. But we talked about the lighter calves already quite a bit. Let's talk about some Northern Plains feeders that sell at Kimble on Tuesday. Your best tested weights there: 335 head of 8-weight feeder steers in Kimble, South Dakota, averaged 866 at 161.59. 366 head of 9-weight steers in Kimble, averaged 935 at 153.75. 555 head of 8-weight heifers, and these are heifers now, Kimble, South Dakota, weighed 844 on the average of all your 8 weights, and with a weighted average price of 147.52. And 228 head of 9-weight yearling heifers, averaged 931 at 142.66. Kimble Livestock Exchange, Kimble, South Dakota. They also had the best quote that I saw anywhere on Tuesday. It was your Zach Tran top quote for the day. 201 head, 1,022 pound feeder steers, Kimble, South Dakota, bring 150.235. And that's your feeder flash for Wednesday.